All right. Thank you so much for being here today in the miracle work moment together. And we can always go any direction with the Course in Miracles. It's like there's so much material, and it's all helpful. So it really doesn't matter what we use. But since today's lesson has everything to do with forgiveness, I want to go into that and take a look at what that actually is, forgiveness. Because you might be willing to forgive, but do you know what it is? And do you know what it isn't? And so that's doable. We will come to clarity today about that, and it becomes very obvious. So that's why I use in the workbook of A Course in Miracles, you have two parts. One is just the plain lessons, so to speak, from 1 to 219. And then there's a part 2 with all the prayer lessons. But the prayer lessons from 220 to 365 have, they're divided into 10 parts or something. So the first one, it always comes with a section in which something is clarified or shared. And so the first part, like the very, very, very first part in the part 2 is, what is forgiveness? That's where it starts with. What is forgiveness? Then there follow 10 prayers follow, all related to the idea of forgiveness, which is really, really beautiful. But anyway, so the what is forgiveness part we will read. And I do this because of the lesson of today. Forgiveness offers everything I want. And I'm probably going to read some of that too today. And it's a great topic, so to speak, a great topic. Because if you really take a look at it, you'll see it's like it is in fact your practice on a daily basis to forgive, or to start a new moment all the time, to not have any ideas about everything, letting these go continuously, and entering into a new moment, even with this person you might not like yesterday, or you have a major grievance against, or you have this or that history with this person. So how forgiveness works then is really what we take a look at. Not to make any of it real, like any of the occurrences, any of the things that people did to you is what you think it did. Not making any of that real, but giving you all the opportunities to let go of it. Which is really something else. It's really something else. So why are we even taking time to take a look at that? It's like, well, it's from my Christian behavior, from my Christian background, I learned to forgive people for what they did to me. Well, this is not what I'm talking about. This is not what I'm talking about. So the practice of forgiveness has nothing to do with any acts. It has not to do with anything. And so why am I using this? Is in fact to come to the place where you recognize there is nothing to forgive. There's only this moment. In this moment, I receive all the love of God, and I'm in full communication all the time. So it is really like a huge vehicle, or a huge tool to come to letting go of your attachment to thought. More than anything, that's the whole purpose, if you want. That's the whole purpose of doing that. It has nothing to do with anyone else. It has nothing to do even with your ideas about yourself. It has to do with you coming into the present moment, having, say, a life episode. a near-life episode instead of a near-death episode. So you have a near-life episode. You come so close to life that you disappear into the happiness for just an instant, or disappear into the light, because that is all connected to this idea. So it's good to take a look at it this way. Otherwise you think that you have to go through a process of forgiving everyone and doing this to that one and not doing this to that one and all. So that has nothing to do with it. Forgiveness has nothing to do with anyone else. Oh my God, that's revolutionary. So, like I said, I'm using the what is forgiveness part, and I would love you to receive this and I hope to transfer this as clear as possible, because it saves you so much time and conflict in your mind if this is clear. It's unbelievable. So the progress that you can make in watching this or listening to this right now is immense, immense. And I really speak from deep experience in this. It's like it's an immense speed up to hear this well. So that was my little introduction into this. So here, like I said, here's the workbook. So this is part 2 of the workbook, you see. Introduction to part 2. Well, it's interesting to read too. And here's the last lesson, the 220 lesson. So we continue. So now we go to this. This was the introduction. And we skip that for now, even though that's very interesting to read too. So I'm going to make this a little bigger. Yeah, here we are. So what is forgiveness? See, it's the first one. It's like, okay, let's get this clear before we do anything else. Let's get this clear. So here we go. Forgiveness recognizes that what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. It does not pardon sins, like you might have been educated in your religious practice. Like, it does not pardon sins and make them real. It sees there was no sin. And in this view, are all your sins forgiven? What is sin except a false idea about God's Son? Forgiveness merely sees its falsity, and therefore lets it go. What then is free to take its place is now the will of God. See, these are huge sentences. What then is free to take its place is now the will of God. So it says here actually, it's like the place that you vacate, like the place that is suddenly available, is going to be filled up by the will of God. And what is the will of God? It's like that is you in your essence, it's you in your loving extension of yourself, you joining with the will of God. And the will of God is a will of love, is a law of love. Is that what you want for yourself in the realization of yourself? Like the will of God is. It is not really a choice that you make. It is what you are. So you cannot not be that. But even though it's in this one sentence, it's shared in this one sentence, it means everything to you. So don't read over it. Just like think like, okay, yeah, the will of God, you know. No. So wake up and listen. Listen. The place that is being given by realizing this, that whatever you think anyone did to you has actually not occurred and is over and gone, by your willingness to let that go, you create the space for the realization of the will of God. That's what this says. And that means it offers you all the light in the universe, all the love in the universe. It shows you your own innocence and your connectedness to every aspect of creation, the full passion of creation. Like, so don't underestimate what is being shared here. It's like, this is just the first paragraph, and in fact you have already your salvation. Your complete salvation is already offered you if you hear what it says. So that's why it's so great. It's like the whole idea of forgiveness, you wouldn't even want to use the word anymore, because it was say contaminated with an idea that there was such thing as sin, that you could do something wrong against someone else. Like now realizing that whatever you see, whatever you experience in your dream of yourself, in your dream configuration of yourself, you see that that is not an actual occurrence. It was a dream, it was a nightmare. And by you waking up out of it, you see, oh my God, actually nothing happened. Because whatever it was, it brought me to this place that I actually start to realize that nothing occurred, that there's absolutely nothing going on in this dream of me. It holds no reality. It is just a fantasy. It is mesmerism. It is make-believe. None of it has any reality. So that's a mega huge lesson to discover. So that's really lovely. And this is just the first paragraph, so yeah, you have no idea. Like I said, this is a speed up. You have no belief. You have no idea about what it can do for you, realizing this and starting to accept this and practice this and extend this. Okay, so let's first take a look then. What is an unforgiving thought? So an unforgiving thought is one which makes a judgment that it will not raise to doubt, although it is untrue. The mind is closed and will not be released. The thought protects projection, tightening its chains so that distortions are more veiled and more obscure, less easily accessible to doubt, and further kept from reason. What can come between a fixed projection and the aim that it has chosen as its needed goal? So we are familiar with this idea. Like, we're familiar with this idea. So look at this. So an unforgiving thought, like in opposition to what I just shared. It's like an unforgiving thought. It's like you saw who did something to you. Or you did see yourself do something to someone else. That's exactly the same. Like you have proof with your eyes, you have proof what has been done to you. Whether that's 20 years ago, whether that's 15 years ago, whether that's happened just an hour ago, that also doesn't matter, because you know what you saw and you have proof. So the one that did that to you, or you as the doer, are guilty of this sinful act that was committed. See, and this is a bit of the theme that we were looking at the other day. It's like guilty, guilty, guilty. It's like, who is guilty? Who is guilty of anything? The one that did something to you is guilty of doing that to you. And how can something be forgiven if you prove to yourself and have every evidence that it was really done to you? It's like, what can forgiveness possibly do then? Then it is a fact. It has become a fact to you where you believe in, and you build your whole world around it. And you probably recognize that too. It's like, once you think that this person is not right, or that you did something that's unforgivable, because you see the proof and still the scars are still on the person, or in the relationship, or whatever happened, is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, the mind is closed. It has chosen its aim, and it will not doubt it. It will stay with it. It like it holds on to it. And that's a very normal human activity, to do it like that. Whether that's countries, whether that's persons, whether that's families, whether that's you name it, relationships. So all this is in the way continuously of you having an experience of the love of God, you having an experience of being free, release the the possibility to release the hold on the situation, thinking that you need to hold on to it, like, and being free of that by releasing it, and having a possibility for a whole different experience of yourself. This is what you don't do when you hold on to an unforgiving thought, like a judgment about anyone. It's like it's totally, completely, wholly in the way of you having an experience of the freedom of you and the love that you are. So that's very interesting, because there's a great healing opportunity here, and this is how honest you have to be with yourself. So the honesty is, you think a certain situation, of describing yourself as in a situation where something has occurred that has hurt you, and holding on to that is not what honesty is. The thing that honesty then is this. It's like, yes, I'm the one holding on to this idea, and I condemn my brother for it, and I don't want to do that any longer. That's in fact an honest step in this. Like, you're actually seeing what you're doing. You're actually already starting to lose a hold on the idea that somebody did something to you. So, and the question arises then, are some things unforgivable? Are some things unforgivable? Like, where does it take place is always the question. Where do you see it? Where did it take place? What is the witness of this? What is the witness of the actual occurrence? Who is that? Who is that? Does that one have any reality whatsoever? And so you see that when you look at it like this, then it becomes immediately an identity question. It's like, who is the one seeing this? In what context is this one seeing that? Has this context any reality? Is this context the will of God? Is God judging here? Or are you taking the place in your little kingdom of your dream fabric of yourself, taking the chair, literally sitting on the chair of God, condemning your brother for what he did to you? That's probably more like how it is for you. So it's like you assume a role that you can't assume. Like, it is not up to you to judge, because you cannot. You don't know why the things are happening. You don't understand anything of what is going on here. You literally don't understand what is going on here. Because there's no such place as this. So it is not understandable what is going on here. And this sounds first as an insane idea, that you don't know what is going on here while you grew up here and say built yourself up to something in a certain sense of self-security or self-insecurity, whatever you want to call that. Deluding yourself into a role of something that you are not. So that means like it started with a lie. All of it is a lie. It has no reality, and it is not what it's not what it appears to be. So that's the very fundamental idea behind all of this. That's why it's such a huge idea, this whole forgiveness. Like huge in the sense of there's so much to discover, to place yourself in the right space to discover who you are, and to let go of your misidentification, and to let go of the way that you have judged your brother, and to let go of all the conflict and misconception. It's an amazing healing lesson. So wonderful. That's why if you first read, and we'll go to that lesson later on, it's like if you first read that lesson, you're like, well, forgiveness cannot be that big. That cannot give you that much, right? It's like, well, it's very lofty, very lofty. And it's like, no, it's almost like an understatement what is being given. It is an all-encompassing lesson to come to the realization of you. Oh yeah, so we continue on the idea of unforgiving thought. An unforgiving thought does many things. In frantic action, it pursues its goal, twisting and overturning what it sees as interfering with its chosen path. Distortion is its purpose and the means by which it would accomplish it as well. It sets about its furious attempts to smash reality without concern for anything that would appear to pose a contradiction to its point of view. Well, let's read the last sentence again. It sets about its furious attempts to smash reality without concern for anything that would appear to pose a contradiction to its point of view. And that's really true. It's like that's how extreme it gets, because it's in fact it's probably the most most huge obstacle to peace is your unforgiving thought, thinking that you are right, that you saw the situation right, you have proof, and nothing can come in between. So you can say like your unwillingness to let go of this, or to reconsider even, to reconsider this situation, your unwillingness to do so is keeping you bound here in this place of conflict, sickness, limitation, and all this. So these unforgiving thoughts, like it says here, it's a furious attempt to smash reality. Furious, like the deepest passion is connected to it, to let it happen, like to not have anything change this position that you are in order to be right, to get what you want. So that's quite something. That's quite something. And this is how exactly, like, that's exactly the spot where that takes place, where you are defending yourself to the ultimate. Like, well, this little thing you shouldn't be talking about. And then it's like, well, it's not a little thing. If I'm not allowed to speak about it, it's not a little thing. It's this huge thing. But you made it small so it's quiet, nice, quiet, and pushed down inside your mind. So anyway, so of course you're not going to stay there after reading all this and actually coming to a whole new vision about it. You're not going to stay there. So that means there is suddenly something that starts to shake it a little bit. That starts to starts to boil it, starts to make it wiggle a little bit, so that you lose your hold upon it. But these are the real tough parts in yourself, where you have to come to realize, why would I want to hold on to this? For what? to confirm that this place is real, that I find myself in, that this world is real, that it has anything to give me, that it needs protection and that it needs my defense. Like, really? Okay, so now we go to the forgiving thought. And quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, nor seeks to twist it to appearance that it likes. It offends no aspect of reality, nor seeks to twist it to appearance that it likes. It merely looks and waits and judges not. He who would not forgive must judge, for he must justify his failure to forgive. But he who would forgive himself must learn to welcome truth exactly as it is. See, here's your whole spiritual path practice, in fact. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is still, quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, nor seeks to twist it to appearance that it likes. It merely looks and waits and judges not, like the be still factor. He who would not forgive must judge, for he must justify his failure to forgive. But he who would forgive himself must learn to welcome truth exactly as it is. So we continue with the W15. Do nothing then, and let forgiveness show you what to do through him who is your guide, your savior, your defender, strong in hope and certain of your ultimate success. He has forgiven you already, for such is his function given him by God. Now must you share his function and forgive whom he has saved, whose sinlessness he sees, and whom he honors as the Son of God. Now you share his function and forgive whom he has saved, whose sinlessness he sees, and whom he honors as the Son of God. I love this. Beautiful. So do nothing then, and let forgiveness show you what to do through him who is your guide, your savior and defender. Strong in hope and certain of your ultimate success. He has forgiven you already, for such is his function given him by God. So here we go. So now we come to our spiritual practice. Like, this is exactly what we do. So you become aware that it has to do with your willingness to forgive, to let all the occurrences that you think are still connected to you or glued to you in terms of memories. Now you have the opportunity to give them away, to let them go, to be willing to forgive and allow this moment, like this only true moment, to be complete and whole. So that is amazing. There's an amazing lesson. There's an amazing introduction to forgiveness. It's like, look at what is offered in like 5 or 6 paragraphs. It's like whole complete salvation. In fact, your whole freedom is given you here, and just because it has everything to do with the reality of you. So the forgiveness part has always to do with a part that wasn't real in the first place. Like it is the place itself where it has taken place isn't real. And this you know by now. Like you are in your awakening experience. You are in your transformational process. You see that this is a fabric of your own making, so to speak. This world is a fabric of your own making. It's a hologram, it's a reflection, it's a mirror. It reflects what you think, and it gives you back what you gave it. So the whole setup then is that is not your reality. So you start to recognize that by dislodging yourself from it and taking time to have moments of going within, closing this, say, mirror projection apparatus, and come into a state where you can actually feel connectedness and quiet and peace, and reminding you of where you truly belong. You know, we have experiences like this. So, but you want more of that. You want that to be your experience. You want that to take that with you wherever you go and not lose it, and not get yourself into all kinds of difficulties in terms of conflict and attack and defense and yeah, you name it. So how is that possible? Is that possible? Well, here's the, say, continuous, say, the possibility of that is to first take a really good look at what this actually says, like we just did. And then if we look at the lesson that will show up in a moment, like lesson 122, I think it is, it's like then you see, well, take 2 times 15 minutes a day. Like, don't overdo it either. Take 2 times 15 minutes a day to just do the lesson, do exactly what it says, and then so it will expand. It will become more and more and more. So there's no necessity to overdo it, because it will only increase your unwillingness to go further. It's like you overload yourself. You ask too much of yourself. Take it easy. There's no need to rush or to hurry. But at the same time, is when you do this, allow yourself to become willing to forgive, or to open up your mind, to have this moment where you actually do that, at least for 15 minutes a day, or twice that much. Like, at least that already is like, puts a big crack in the continuity of your experience of yourself as you knew it. You know, that breaks it into parts. That's really important. So now I'm going to read actually some of the lesson. So this was yesterday's lesson, if I got that well, which is, forgiveness is the key to happiness. Here's the answer to all your search for peace. So that's lesson 121. So that's actually true what it says. Now we know that. It is actually true what it says. Like, it's your key to peace, because it actually puts you right in the place where you discover, oh my God, if I do this right, I actually have a possibility of entering into a peace that is not of this world at all. Okay, so lesson 122. Forgiveness offers everything I want. So here are some questions. What could you want forgiveness cannot give? Do you want peace? Oh, here's an answer too. Forgiveness offers it. Do you want happiness? A quiet mind, a certainty of purpose, and a sense of worth and beauty that transcends the world. Do you want care and safety, and the warmth of sure protection always? Do you want a quietness that cannot be disturbed, a gentleness that can never be hurt, a deep abiding comfort, and a rest so perfect it can never be upset?
Que pourriez-vous souhaiter que le pardon ne puisse vous donner? Est-ce que tu veux la paix? Le pardon l'offre. Voulez-vous le bonheur? un calme esprit, une certitude de but et un sens de la valeur et de la beauté qui transcendent le monde? Voulez-vous des soins et de la sécurité, de la chaleur, de la protection sûre, toujours? Voulez-vous un calme qui ne peut être dérangé, une douceur qui ne peut jamais être blessée, une profonde, un confort durable et un repos si parfait qui ne peut jamais être bouleversé?
Merci, merci, merci. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing that. So it's like, yeah, yeah, yes, this is what I want. Yes, yes. Now, what am I gonna do? Now, how does this work? What do I need to do for that? Yes, and then you get to the point. So it's like, okay, if you accept this and you follow up and do the exercise, great. It's like, that's great. So will it be successful the first time? It's like, well, yeah, if you do a total, you will be successful right away. Absolutely. So this is the offering. This is the offering. So now the only trouble that you have is the thing that you deal with here is yourself. So this is really where you sit with. So you can print this page and read it every morning, or print this one paragraph and read it every morning. Do you want peace? Do you want this? Forgiveness offers it. Like forgiveness offers it. So what is forgiveness? What you think your brother did to you has actually not occurred. So are you willing to do that? Then you have a wonderful day. You're just doing just fine. You feel the comfort, you feel the love, the connection, how everything falls beautifully into place. You see the beauty of everything that transcends this world completely. Like it is amazing. You're in this totally amazing place where you actually start to see with Christ looking through your eyes. So that is the practice. That is the offering. That is what is there for you. And so your spirit, your Holy Spirit, already saw the perfection of you. And he takes you there, knowing he's going to be successful. So here's your guide, your defender, your protector, your whatever you want to call it. Your guide is a great word. Like your guide along this path is given you. So you don't have to do this all by yourself. You don't have to figure this out, in other words. You don't have to complicate it for yourself, in other words. So that is the offering of the first paragraph of this lesson 122 of A Course in Miracles. So now this does not need to take study. You don't have to study this. You don't have to know all about this. No, it is just only happening in one point in you. Are you willing to let this go? This idea that you thought that somebody did something to you. Are you willing to get over yourself and let it go? Realizing the place that you see where it took place, like in your dream setup. That's where it took place. It has no reality whatsoever. It is only what I made to keep the love of God away from me and choose for a bubble of separation, choosing for a bubble of depression, choosing for a bubble of pain and limitation, of disaster, disease, and all this. Like you have no idea what you do to yourself in that sense. And here is your way out of it. So that's what I love about this lesson. It's like this is the crux. This is such an incredible pivot point moment for you when you start to hear this, when you are willing to go through this and let this be changed for you, in you, giving up that was stuck for a long time, where you really think that somebody, whenever that occurred, whether that's in your youth, whether that's in your later days, whatever, it's like none of it. When it is time related, when it is location related, it has no reality. It was just an appearance taking place in a context that has no reality whatsoever. Here is your call for freedom. Here's your call for love. Here's the place where actually you can be, say, transformed in the spirit man that you are, but having that as your total experience of yourself. So that's why do nothing, it says. Do nothing. Like, you don't need ideas about this. You don't need anything for that. Be still. Allow this change to occur to you. Be willing to let go of anything that is temporal for just a moment. Allow yourself to do that. Like, that is the only requirement. And then that can occur. Suddenly there's space in your mind to have a whole different experience of yourself, and it will be taken by light and love immediately, as soon as it is there. That is your confirmation of true forgiveness. Like, that is your confirmation that it actually works in you. Not anything else, not any ideas about it, or any opinions about it, or any comparisons about how bad it was what you did, or how bad it was that this other person did. Like, it is free of judgment, it is free of any comparison, it is free of analysis, it is free of opinions and words. In fact, it is a direct experience of your freedom. That is the offering, and that is what forgiveness brings. I'll read it one more time because it's so lovely, if I can find it. So what could you want forgiveness cannot give? Do you want peace? Forgiveness offers it. Do you want happiness, a quiet mind, a certainty of purpose, and a sense of worth and beauty that transcends the world? Do you want care and safety, and the warmth of sure protection always? Do you want a quietness that cannot be disturbed, a gentleness that can never be hurt, a deep abiding comfort, and a rest so perfect it can never be upset? So you think that's all. No, it is not. There is always more. All this forgiveness offers you, and more. It sparkles in your eyes as you awake. It gives you joy with which to meet the day. It soothes your forehead while you sleep, and rests upon your eyelids, so you see no dreams of fear and evil, malice and attack. And when you wake again, it offers you another day of happiness and peace. All this forgiveness offers you, and more, and more, and more, and more, and more. It doesn't stop. And more, and more, amor, and more. I love that. So thank you for allowing me to share this with you, which is such a great offering. So thank you for everything. And yeah, in class here we play some music to relax into this idea, and to enjoy the beauty of everything, and to let this happiness be stirred in us. So thank you for everything. Thank you so much.